At Vanco, we've worked with tens of thousands of churches to help them grow, and we can say one of the biggest predictors of decline in membership, aside from a lack of outreach, is a decline in small group participation. According to recent Lifeway research, only 44% of churchgoers participate in small groups. And that's actually down from 49% in 2010. Now, this tracks with overall church metrics. During this time, church membership has declined among U.S. adults from approximately 60% to 47%, according to Gallup. The truth is, small groups aren't some trendy church growth hack. They're actually the biblical model for Christian community. I mean, think about it. The early church didn't gather in massive sanctuaries with professional lighting and loud sound systems. Acts 2:46 tells us instead they met in homes, breaking bread together with glad and sincere hearts. Now that sounds exactly like a small group, doesn't it? Even Jesus himself focused most of his ministry time on a discipleship group of 12. Why? Because transformation happens in close relationships, not sitting anonymously in the back of a crowded room. Not convinced yet? Okay. We'll give you 5 more pressing reasons. Here's a sobering reality. We're living in the most technologically connected era in human history, yet people are experiencing epidemic levels of loneliness. In fact, the numbers on this are pretty startling. According to the Survey Center on American Life, the number of individuals with one friend or fewer has more than doubled since 1990. Small groups create the authentic community people are desperately searching for. They transform your church from a place people visit once a week or once a month to a family they feel like they really belong to. We all know real friendships take time, and let's be honest, Sunday morning small talk over coffee doesn't build those deeper bonds. Faith community groups give people the chance to go beyond surface level connections. Many people who would never set foot in a traditional church service will gladly accept an invitation to a casual home gathering. Small groups become your church's most effective front door. Let me ask you this. Would your neighbor who's skeptical about church be more likely to accept an invitation to Sunday service or to a relaxed discussion group in your living room? Small groups create a low-pressure environment where spiritual conversations can happen naturally. And here's where it gets even better. When new people connect relationally first, they're far more likely to engage with your wider church community. Small groups become your most powerful on-ramp to church involvement. One of the biggest challenges churches face is identifying and developing new leaders. Small groups are your leadership development pipeline. When someone joins a small group, they might start by just participating in discussions. But over time, they might take on responsibilities like leading prayer, facilitating discussion, or eventually even launching their own small group. The beauty of this approach is that leadership development happens naturally. People discover and deploy their spiritual gifts in a safe, supportive environment before stepping into more visible church leadership roles. Lifeway research discovered that churches with active small groups see significantly higher worship attendance growth over 5 years compared to those without. That's because small groups don't just maintain your church, they actually multiply it. Here's what's fascinating. The most effective small group ministries focus less on program management and more on developing people. Because when you invest in mentoring and equipping leaders, your small groups won't just maintain, they'll multiply. One of the most powerful things about small groups is how they solve what I call the depth reach dilemma. Every church wants to reach more people while also helping them grow deeper in their faith. Small groups let you do both simultaneously. A church service that reaches hundreds or thousands of people simply can't provide the individual attention and interaction that spiritual growth requires. But when those same people gather in groups of 8 or 12, suddenly meaningful discipleship becomes possible at scale. But wait, there's more. Small groups also address the demographic challenge many churches face. Did you know that Barna Group research found that women constitute 60% of small group attendees and 2/3 of participants are aged 45 or older? This reveals a huge opportunity. By intentionally designing some small groups around the needs of men and younger adults, you can engage segments of your congregation that might otherwise slip through the cracks. This is particularly important because churches are critical for creating additional spaces for people to connect in real life, not just virtually. Men specifically are having a harder time joining and forging community. One prominent study found that the amount of men with at least 6 close friends fell by half since 1990, down from 55% to 27%. Your church can have a real impact on the lives of those within your community by creating groups that cater to their needs. And there are plenty of key small groups beyond Bible studies that you can tailor to your community. Something remarkable happens when prayer moves beyond the obligatory opening and closing of a church service. In small groups, prayer becomes personal, specific, and powerful. Now imagine every person in your church having a group of people they can text when they need prayer. Not just the pastor or prayer team, but real friends who know their struggles and celebrate their victories. When members commit to praying for one another throughout the week, your church becomes more than a gathering. It becomes a support system. This creates a culture of prayer that eventually permeates your entire congregation. The secret most churches miss is that prayer shouldn't feel like an afterthought in your small groups. Make it central. When groups prioritize meaningful prayer, they create space for authentic spiritual transformation. If you're serious about growing your church, whether it's through small groups or other ministries, the key is having a clear plan that's easy to follow and built to last. That's why we created our free church growth course. It walks you step by step through proven strategies to help your church thrive, not just for next season, but for the long haul. Inside the course, you'll find many of the stats, tools, and resources we mentioned today, plus a downloadable study guide packed with bonus tips, real-world examples, and links to additional free tools that make implementation simple. Whether you're just starting to build momentum or you're ready to take your growth efforts to the next level, this course is designed to give you the clarity and confidence you need. Check the link in the description to get instant access and start building a stronger, more connected church today. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for access to our latest free resources.